Let's do a little rundown here. When you open Fusion, you should come up with an untitled file. When you save your work, you're going to be able to find it again in your data panel. I'm going to be putting my files here in this folder because I have, go back to home, all of this stuff from other years. I highly recommend organizing things. I'm going to save first before I do anything. And I'm just going to save that as basic. And it'll show up over here. Now, I don't need to access this way. This is your data panel, so I can hide that data panel. But you want to make sure that you have it started over there so that if it quits, and trust me, it probably will at some point, that you have it named and saved. And then it auto backs up pretty regularly from there. But it doesn't start at all until you save it. So save it, please. So we got 3 modes. We have create mode that we're going to start with. And the create mode, box, cylinder, sphere. There's torus, coil, and pipe too, but we don't really need to deal much with those right now. You could use a torus if you wanted to. Let's take a little bit of a tour down here. You can see the tool labels if you hover. Orbit might come in handy. Pan will come in handy. Zooming in or out, handy. Fit is actually really important because if you lose what you're working on, just go to fit and it'll all fit on the screen and you can find what you're missing. Seems ridiculous that you could lose something in here, but oh, it's true. I would definitely have your layout grid and your layout grid lock we can do. And we want to be able to see, you don't really need to see this. This is your multiple views, right? So you can see it a bunch of different ways, but one is probably plenty. You'll notice this is your sort of like joystick for this whole shindig. So anyway, back to create. I'm just going to start with some basics. So let's start with a box. Now, I'm going to, wherever you start the box is on a plane. So I apparently hit a plane of some kind. Oh, look, I'm on this surface. Notice that you can immediately see the sizes you're dealing with. You know that you're dealing with a 1:20 ratio. So essentially a 5 centimeter size as you're working here is going to be about a meter. All right, so 5 centimeters equals a meter. So let's do 5 centimeters, thanks. 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Awesome. Hit return. It gives you a 5 millimeter starting point. I can type in 5 centimeters. And that's my basically 1 meter square cube, right? Or 1 meter cubed. If I want to orbit that, I can click there. I can move around. Everybody's happy. Now, I put that, when I started, right on the ground plane, right? I didn't put it in midair. Not a problem. I can move this. I can do all kinds of things. I can modify, right? The moving is something you're going to do pretty regularly. You can just type the M key, right? These are your key commands here. So you can move. Notice it says move copy. Check this out. This is something that everybody does, I don't want to say wrong, but forgets that they can do. So if we click on the body, see that this clicked on a face? I want to click on the whole body. Over here, there's the body. Look, I have the body. If I hit M, then I can move this object. If I just move this object, right, by one of the arrows, it's going to stay in the grid. I can move it straight up. I can move it straight down. I can move it down past the grid. I can tell it how far I want it to move. If I want to put it back, I just put it back to 0. I can move it towards me. Sometimes seeing those arrows is a little tricky. And notice I'm going from the corner here. I can also pivot this, and I can pivot it. This is the other one. Whoa, this way. Okay, so all of a sudden you have all this cool stuff. I can cancel that and be like, yeah, no. Or, go grab the body again. I can also, if I want to make 2 of these for some reason, I go down here and I create copy and I check that. Now, please be observant. I now have 2 bodies, but you're like, well, where is the second one? Well, lo and behold, it's occupying exactly the same space as the first one. Look at that. So if you make a copy, you need to move the copy in order to see it, really. So that's kind of important. And you can just hit return to apply. Let's say we want to put a hole in something. Do not use this hole tool. I'm going to say that, and then somebody's going to use it anyway. Go use something else to put a hole in something, right? I'm going to do a sphere, because I can. And I'm going to start on the surface of this box. And then I'm going to make my sphere bigger. Whoa, what? Right? And I can orbit. Why my thing is being annoying. You can see where that sphere is being created and how it's essentially defaulting to cut into this surface area. Now, hit the escape key. The escape key is your friend here, really. So I started the point on a face. The default operation when things overlap is either to join or to cut. You have other options. You could join, in which case these 2 things are going to become one or they are one body, right? But then you won't be able to move the sphere. You could do intersect, fascinating that. It gives you only the area where they're overlapping, right? Kind of cool. Or you can make a new body. This is kind of fun, which means I can create this sphere and say, okay, but this is a separate body, right? Separate body from this one, even though it's sitting there. And it has not actually cut into the original cube. I'm going to hit the move thing and move this guy. See, there's 2 bodies occupying the same space, but it doesn't make a hole. It just sits there. If you then wanted to put that size hole into this cube, you would need to cut. So you would need to go modify, and it's under combine, right? Those are where those options are. If you do cut, right, the target body is the one you're going to cut. I'm going to cut the cube. The tool body is the one you're going to cut with. Okay? And it turns pink again. Now, let's say I want to have, say, a ball and socket kind of deal where I want to be able to have the hole, but I also want the sphere to stick around so I can have something that rotates in something for some reason. So I would then need to keep my tool, that's my tool, and say, okay, so now I have, right, the sphere and the hole is there. Okay, that's kind of fun. So cutting, joining 2 bodies, making a new body so it doesn't automatically join, because it will automatically join with the other one. It's either going to auto cut or auto join, and you don't want either of those most of the time. And since I have had a chance to make a few things here, if you check out down here, this is where my history is, right, essentially. And I can move, this is kind of fun, it can be like a little video. You can move you can play this, like, look, I did that, and then I did that, and then I did that, and that, and that. Look what I did. So if at some point you, need a screenshot of something to put in your blog, you can always go back to the point at which that you want to capture in time and take that screenshot. Interesting. You can also go back and if I control click on here, right click on here, I can edit the thing that I did at that point in time, like 2 or 3 steps ago. And it will change everything moving forward. Actually, if I go back all the way to the beginning, check this out. I can control click here, edit the feature that is the original box, and be like, oh, I don't really want it that high. I think I'm going to make it 3 centimeters tall instead. So it's kind of a rectangle. Okay, fine. Notice that everything from that point forward, the copying, the moving, the second one, all reflect that change, right? It's a parametric change. So anytime you make something and that you use that to then create another thing or a part of a thing, everything relative to that original object will change if you go back and change it in the timeline. I could go into here and do something else. Modify. What do I want to do? I want to press pull here. And I'm going to bring this, up. See how that's going to do the same thing over there? It's going to make both of these things because this is a direct copy of that one, and they are linked. Due to that, let's make this 60 millimeters. Yes. Okay. So again, things to think about as you're going. Sometimes you will want to have that capacity, so you only have to change one thing and it changes everything. Sometimes you want to be able to change one thing and not have it affect everything else. What else? Oh yeah. So there's your cube, sphere, modifications. We've looked at press pull, right? You can take a side. If I hit Q, that's my press pull key command. Pull this one out. Notice if I do it to the copy, it doesn't make the first one change. It only makes the second one change. All right, and I'm going to do that another 20 because they're nice round numbers. Yeah, interesting. Then what else do we need? We need, okay, fillet and chamfer. Fillet, also F key. You can fillet a corner and round it. It's very cool. You can also type in the radius for that. So if you know you want a nice round, say 15. Hello. You gonna let me do 15? Yes, thank you. Hit return. And then what does that look like? That looks like that. Oh, adorbs. Now, modify. Chamfer. What does chamfer do? Chamfer lets you do that at an angle. So, now we have some interesting things going on. Now, this chamfer type has some options, right? Equal distance means that from that corner, it pushed 45. It's a 45-degree push in, basically. Even on both sides. If we instead said to ourselves two distances, we would like this one to push in further, you can change that angle. So it is not necessarily a 45-degree angle. It can be much steeper or less steep, depending on what you need, right? So you have a ton of flexibility with this. Yeah, so there's that. And, while we're here, let me crank out a cylinder. Boop. Cylinder. Whoa. Again, I'm just messing around, showing you guys some things. I would recommend pretty much always typing in your dimensions so you know what you're dealing with. Don't just do what looks good because on the screen you can't tell how big it is. Okay. Modify. Let's modify chamfer. And we're going to modify this guy. And we're going to go over here. We're going to do... Let's try two distances. We're going to push down. And we're going to push in. Because what we want here is a cone. Right? And there's your cone all the way down. There's your cylinder with a cone on top, right? Woo! That's not going to let me do negative. That's kind of a bummer. Anyway. Cool stuff. You can make this as... Whoops. It's not going to let you go into 0. Let me zoom in. Right? You're going to have a little flat spot in the middle. Doesn't have to be very big, but you will have one. Okie dokie. So that's the easiest way to put a cone on something. Oh, alignment. Let's say I want to then put the base of this thing. Let's modify, align. Haha. We're going to align bodies. We're going to go from somewhere and to somewhere. Okay. We're going to go from here to here. Oh, not quite what I had in mind. Let's flip that over. There we go. Now it's stuck there. If we wanted to put that, I could change my to over here, and I could put that right there. That is the easiest way to line something up. Notice that those center marks, those are center marks. It will center it for you. I could align it to this point here if I wanted to. I don't know why I would want to, but I could put it right there, right? Oh, that's kind of odd. I don't know why that went sideways. So I guess it was the only way I could do center point to center point. Can I flip it? No. Angle? Ooh. No, never mind. Okay. Cutting, aligning, fillet, chamfer, move, copy. What else have we got? And you'll notice some of these are shortcuts. Press, pull, fillet. You can, shelling something is actually highly useful. Let's shell this guy. If we're going to shell, let me just show you what it is. Shell this. Inside thickness, 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters. Okay, right? 2 millimeters. That will, it keeps the bottom. It makes it like a empty box, essentially. And you'll notice that it only shelled that body. It didn't also cut into this. It didn't also cut into this. You can't shell a sphere unless you whack off part of it. Like to give yourself a flat bit to work with, then you can shell it. How would you do that? There's so many things you can do with this. If you're getting a little more creative, you can, construction planes, you're going to end up using construction planes. Let's say, okay, construction planes, you create the plane on another plane. So plane is like a surface area, right? So I just stuck it on the outside of that box. But to offset it, maybe I want to offset it. I'll just drag it out here. How far? 100, no. How about just 12? Okay. So now you can see I have this yellow, plane. Now everything's upside down. Sure, it won't work upside down. No. There we go. Let's put this right back. Sorry, back. So we can see what's going on. See that yellow plane? I'm going to use that. I'm going to modify, split my body. We're going to split this sphere, and the splitting tool is this plane. Highly handy thing to be able to do here. Hit return. Now, you will notice if I move this guy, I have cut the head off the sphere here, pretty much. Okay. Now, this is awesome, but I don't really need it right now. I don't need to see it. So over here is my construction plane. I'm just going to blink that. If you blink the whole folder, if you go to make another construction plane, it's not going to show up. And you're going to wonder where it went. You're going to make like 10 of them, and then you're going to remember that you have to go turn this on, and you'll have a whole pile of them. You don't want that either. Let me show you what a shell looks like here. Same, 2 millimeters. Why do I do 2 millimeters? Because 2 millimeters is a good thickness to 3D print. And what are we doing with these things? We are 3D printing them. So handy. If you were doing something with the laser cutter that you were eventually going to cut out and construct, you would want to make sure that whatever that thickness was the thickness of the material you were going to use. For example, if it were cardboard, you would make it 4 millimeters. Okay. That might be enough to get you started. Maybe. I don't know. You can, you may want to label some of these things. You can do that. box 1, box 2, copy, maybe. This is the sphere. This is the pointy cone. Whoops. Did I move them? I didn't mean to. What did I do? Oh, look at that. I get into sketch mode. That's a whole different video. We'll get back to that later. Escape, create, finish sketch. I'll get out of sketch mode for a minute. Okay, this is just create mode. We haven't even gone through anything else. Wow, we really haven't gone through anything else, and we haven't even done all of these things. You can make cool patterns. Those of you that have done this before, if you want to start playing with patterns, if you want to, again, don't play with holes and threads unless we're doing something really specific. Lofting is kind of fun, but I would need to make some things to loft together intentionally. Let's not do that right now. Modifications, easy. Press, pull, fillet, chamfer, shell. Scaling, if you need to make something bigger or smaller. Combine, you definitely will need, because that's the cut, join, intersect, new body thing. Split body you will probably use. Move, copy, align, yes, delete, probably. Yeah. Let's start with inspect. You may actually want this too. You can measure things, like how far are things, how far is this edge, is there we go, is 70 millimeters long. This edge is, and it'll tell you how far they are from each other, what is the angle from there to there. This is all highly useful information. I love this program. Yeah. Oh, anytime you lose your pop-up here, just click to expand it. You can do that over here too if you're like sick of seeing things, but your browser, you need this. You need to be able to see all this shenanigans. Yeah. I'm going to let you run with that and see how it goes. Good luck. Let's see what you can do with it.